The trees are starting to get these spectacular limey green leaves. I just love this time of year. So I am wanting to talk a little bit about the idea that, especially in for PDA identified or neurodivergent folks, there's often like an identified bad guy in their life. Someone who is the problem, someone who's the bad guy, someone who's the villain. And my understanding of why this is often the case is because when we are in a defense state, when our nervous system has detected a threat, okay, for whatever reason, it's picked up on data that overlaps with something in our past that was threatening. It sends out that signal that something has been detected, and then our mind is given the task to go about and check the facts and see if there is an actual threat. And our minds have been trained to find what is the problem, right? So our nervous system says, hey, there's a potential threat. Our mind looks all around, it checks the environment, and it says, oh, I found it, right? And it could be this person is the threat, this music is the threat, this light is the threat. And for those of us who are neurodivergent, we have a much lower threshold for what could be a potential threat. So it's easier to find bad guys, right? And once we find a bad guy, once we go back to the nervous system with that brain information and say, oh, I found it, it's this person, right? Then the nervous system can relax, right? It can go, oh, okay, you heard my message, thank you so much. It may not be that the mind found the right thing, right? The mind could have totally just been like, oh, I know what it is. It's because the birds are chirping. And it could be that it's actually that, 4 generations ago, somebody died on a spring day. And so my nervous system is like, spring is a problem, right? But we have a sense of relief when the mind identifies a bad guy. And so in a lot of cases, you may have a nervous system who's looking for a bad guy or who finds a default bad guy because it eases that searchingness that the nervous system is asking for. So, for example, I have someone in my life who I'm their bad guy, right? I'm just their default bad guy. And they have tested that out. It helps them. They benefit from calling me the bad guy, right? And I don't retaliate, so I'm a pretty safe bad guy to have. And if there's a problem on any given day and they can somehow associate it with me being the bad guy, then their nervous system can relax and they're like, okay, I solved that problem, right? And they can move on. And in a way, it's a grace for me to be their bad guy. I really love the work of Byron Katie. And there was a time when I was doing it with her and I was saying, like, what if people don't love me and I need them to love me? And she was like, they have so much going on in their life. You don't need them to love you. That's a lot to ask of them. And there was another time when it was like, I was the bad guy and she was like, well, they've got so much going on. Maybe you let them have you be the bad guy because it's not going to hurt you. Ultimately, sometimes we can get our feelings hurt, but other people thinking I'm the bad guy doesn't mean I'm the bad guy, but maybe I let them think that just so that their nervous system can relax a little bit, because if they're looking for a bad guy outside of themselves, they're probably not having the capacity to explore or look at what's the real situation that's going on, whether it's that that they have some personal stuff that they need to look at. Maybe it's that they, need to make some changes that they don't feel they have the capacity to make right now. Or it could just be that they're overwhelmed in this world and their nervous system is like, there's a bad guy, there's a bad guy, there's a bad guy, there's a bad guy. And their mind is like, okay, let's just choose this one so that you will stop telling me. So anyways, that's one perspective on what it could be about, that people have like an identified villain in their life. And if you're the identified villain, if you can frame it as a grace that you're offering to that person. Like, okay, I see that that brings you relief and that you don't have the capacity to do more investigating to see what's really going on for you. And I'll just be your bad guy for today, or for whatever chunk of time. And then, take care of yourself and go get your support to remember that, from my perspective, there's no bad guys. And the whole illusion of good guy, bad guy is, just something that's a result of us living in this dual reality.